What's up, Dragon Brood? Today we are on day 8 of previews, and it's February 3rd, and it looks like we're getting to where we're launching cards fast and furious. I guess trying to get out ahead of Friday when we get the full set release, because we're already down to less than 100 cards left to go with a couple of days still. I guess, no, today's Thursday. Tomorrow will be Friday. Maybe we're not getting it. I don't know. We'll find out. But for today, we do have a lot of cards to talk about. And some of them, hopefully, will be pretty interesting. There's been a lot of good ones in the last 7 days, so hopefully that trend continues. Let's get to it. Alright, so as always, I'm just going through the cards with you, so initial responses, reactions, we'll see what's up. Actually, my first thought on this one is, what the hell happened to this frame? It looks like it was from an official source, so I don't know what's going on. Like, the other cards look like, maybe it's just a bad picture. I don't know. It does look a little slanted, so maybe that's the issue. Anyway, this is Farewell. It's 4 white, sorcery, choose one or more. Exile all artifacts, all creatures, all enchantments, all great. What? Why? Why do we... Okay. We have too many sweepers in standard right now. Like, I feel like every set is giving us like another 2 or 3. Like, seriously, right now, what do we have? Like, I don't know, 17 variations of sweepers? That's too many. That's way too many. And then this, for 6 mana, like, you get not just destroy things, you get to exile things. Like... This card has a minimum as a 1 of, but if not a 2 of, and a lot of the control decks or mid-rangey decks playing white, right? I mean, even if for nothing else, you can just exile graveyards, and that's going to be good in a lot of matches. But yeah, I mean, the card's good. I mean, no doubt. I'm just not happy with it. But yeah, the card's definitely going to get played. Goshen Thai of Lost Wisdom, colorless and a blue for a 0/4 flying legendary creature that happens to be a shrine, which, by the way, the shrine is a creature type, or actually a card type, not a creature type. So my understanding is these shrines don't actually have a creature type, which is a little bit weird, but something to keep in mind. At the beginning of your end step, you may pay 1 colorless. When you do, target player mills X cards, where X is the number of shrines you control. Alright, nah. Meh. That's kind of all I have to say about this one. It's a thing. If you're playing a mill deck, end of turn, spend some mana, maybe mill the opponent for 1 to 3. It's fine. It blocks a lot of stuff. It's a good defensive card, but that's probably the best I can say about it. This has some sweet looking art, by the way. Check that out. Boom. That's a cool looking piece of artwork. But yeah, anyway, card type. Rizona, Asari Commander, colorless, red-white, 3/3, legendary creature, human, samurai with haste. Whenever this card deals combat damage to a player, if it doesn't have an indestructible counter on it, put an indestructible counter on it. Whenever combat damage is dealt to you, remove an indestructible counter from Rizona. This is an interesting... So it's a 3 mana, 3/3 with haste. You jam it in there. You make contact with your opponent. It gets an indestructible counter. But if your opponent retaliates and hits you, you remove an indestructible counter. This is such a strange card. This is strange. I don't hate it. I mean, it's a legendary creature. It's a samurai. It's a human. It's probably going to fit into these decks we've been talking about where you're attacking with 1 creature with samurai or whatever. All fine and good. The ability is just very weird. But if you think about it, if it goes into the deck where you're going to have 3-4 creatures and you're really only attacking with 1, well, your opponent's not likely to attack you or get through with something significant to remove that counter from this card. So it's probably solid. Like, it's a weird take. It's a weird take. I'm sure there's a reason that it has the add remove thing on it, but it's a curious card, to say the least. 1 black, 1/2, Dockside Chef, enchantment creature, human citizen, pay 1 and a black, sacrifice an artifact or creature, draw a card. Another tool for the sacrifice decks. results in you getting another card, sacking a token, or a treasure, or who knows what else. This is a good little useful card. It's a 1/2 for 1, has a really good ability. It's going to be easy to jam into a couple of decks if you want to. All right, translation time. Explosive Singularity. 8 red. My goodness. Okay. So 10 mana sorcery. As an additional cost to cast the spell, you may tap any number of untapped creatures you control. This spell costs 1 less for each creature tapped this way. Explosive Singularity deals 10 damage to any target. Wow. You know, I need that meme with Leonardo DiCaprio was like, now you got my attention. sort of what I need here. Man, 10 is a lot, don't get me wrong, but there are a lot of decks where you'll probably get away with casting this for like 6 or 7. Downside is it is a sorcery, but it should be. I mean, 10 is a lot of damage. And you can't split it up, so it's 10 to a single target. So sometimes you're going to end up wasting this on something that's like a 4/4 or some such. But yeah, 1 or 2 of these, even in a mid-rangey deck where maybe you're making some tokens or something, I could see this being a thing. I mean, imagine your opponent being at like 8, they're like setting up some stuff on defense or wherever, you're like, boom, take 10. Like, yeah, this card's something. I'm going to lose to this card a few times, I'm sure. The art in this set is wild. Like, look at this. Like, both versions have super awesome art. Like, but anyway. Spring Leaf Avenger, 3 colorless, green for a insect ninja creature. So a second green ninja. 6/5 for 5 mana, which is pretty good. Ninjutsu of 3 and a green. Whenever this card deals combat damage to a player, return target permanent from your graveyard to your hand. Ooh. This card's kind of nice. I'm not gonna lie, this card's nice, y'all. Like, wow. All right, so you just get stuff from your graveyard to your hand. Like, Like, here's the thing. This is one where your ninjutsu cost is 4 versus 5, so that's really nice, right? You could play this early. You're getting a 6/5 creature, so you're getting a sizable body the opponent has to deal with. And then on top of that, it connects and you get to return something else. Even if you don't get to ninjutsu it into play, it's still a 6/5, which is bigger than what most decks are playing right now, creature-wise. Like, now, I don't know if the ninjutsu decks want green. This is more likely to just be a card that shows up in green decks or green X decks, where we're talking about green, red, green, white, whatever. But this could go into several creature decks. I just don't know if it goes into a ninja deck is going to be the difference. But this card has potential to be very good. Translation time. Coalescent A Red for Ogre Helmet 2/2. It's an equipment ogre. Equipped creature gets +2/+2. Whenever Ogre Helmet is equipped, creature deals or equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, you sacrifice it. If you do, discard your hand, draw 3 cards. Interesting. Huh. So you can put it onto a creature, or you can attack with it. If it or the equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, then you have to sacrifice it or that creature it's equipped to, and you discard your hand and draw 3 cards. This is powerful in the right scenarios. I mean, getting 3 cards is just really good. The tough part would be if you got it early and you didn't want to connect with it because you still have 3-4 more cards you want to play. You know, that type of scenario. Or maybe you're still trying to get more lands down first. But the card overall actually is reasonably solid. So would not be surprised to see this show up in a deck or 2. All right, more translation time. Rabbit Battery. Red for a 1/1 equipped rabbit. It has haste. Equipped creature gets +1/+1 and haste. Reconfigure of 1 red. This one I like a lot. Mostly because giving stuff haste is very powerful. It's only 1 to equip or reconfigure, whatever you want to call it. Like, so that's really good. The creature you put it on doesn't just get haste, it also gets +1/+1, which is very good. So this could work in an aggro deck. Honestly, there's probably a few different aggro decks that would want something like this. I could get on board with this card for sure. Alright, so we have Gravelighter, 2 colorless and a black for a 2/2 flying creature. Spirit, when Gravelighter enters the battlefield, draw a card. If a creature died this turn, otherwise, each player sacrifices a creature. I like the versatility of this one, right? If something's already died, then cool, you get to draw a card. If nothing's died yet, you get your opponent to sacrifice a creature. Actually, each player sacrifices a creature. But I like the fact that this can do stuff in either situation, right? If your opponent doesn't have anything, you're like, cool, I'll play it and draw a card, right? If they do and you need to get something out of the way, it's like, okay, play it, we each sacrifice the thing, which you're probably sacrificing the Gravelighter, but maybe not, it flies. But we play the other one currently, like the 3/1, that still shows up sometimes in list, and it's on the ground, doesn't fly, so yeah, Gravelighter probably has some corner case scenarios where it wants to be played. Alright, we have Thundering Raiju. 2 red creature spirit for a 3/3 with haste. Whenever this creature attacks, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. Then this card deals X damage to each opponent, where X is the number of modified creatures you control. Ooh. This is neat because no matter what, I mean, at the very least, you'll have a 4 mana 3/3 with haste you can attack with. And if there's nothing else, you could put a +1/+1 counter on this and then still deal 1 to the opponent. That's kind of neat. I don't know how good or bad that makes this card, but I do like where it's going. Like conceptually it's pretty cool, and it's more ways you can just like nick at your opponent with extra damage. All right, we have Mindlink Mech, 2 colorless and a blue for a 4/3 flying vehicle. It crews for 1, super cheap. Must be a catch. Whenever Mindlink Mech becomes crewed for the first time each turn, until end of turn, it becomes a copy of target non-legendary creature that crewed it this turn, except it's a 4/3. It's a vehicle artifact in addition to its other types, and it has flying. Okay, so interpreting this lets you crew for 1, which is basically all your creatures. Unless you have a 0 power creature, I guess. And then when it is crewed, it becomes a copy of whatever crewed it. But its base power and toughness is 4/3, and it's still a vehicle and all that. That's kind of slick. But, like, I mean, I don't know. Let's say you crew with, I don't know, random werewolf or something. So it gets the werewolf traits, but it's still a 4/3 flying, whatever. I'm sure this is useful. I'm sure. Actually, you know what? Maybe because there's other vehicles, you could get into a weird situation where you crew a vehicle, then crew this with another vehicle, and then it gets that other vehicle's traits because there are several that do things. So, yeah, there probably are some scenarios where you could do 3 or 4 interesting things with this, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. All right, we have Kotsune, the Silent Spider. 3 blue, black. For a 4/4 legendary creature human ninja, when Kotsune enters the battlefield, exile target card in an opponent's graveyard other than a basic land card. Search that player's graveyard, hand, and library for any number of cards with the same name as that card and exile them. Then, that player shuffles. For as long as you control Kotsune, you may play one of the exiled cards. And you may spend that mana as though it was mana of any color, blah, blah, blah. Whew. Alright, so this is 5 mana 4/4, but you get to remove a thing from the opponent's graveyard that's not a basic land. And then you exile all copies of them from their library and hand. And then, actually not their hand. Yeah, it is. Graveyard, hand, and library. And then you get your option of playing one of those cards. So you can't take 4 of a thing and play 4 of them, but you can play one of those cards that you exiled. This seems good. Interesting that Kotsune is a ninja that doesn't actually do ninja things. However, if you return this to your hand, you get the chance to use Kotsune again and remove stuff from the graveyard. I don't know why I said Kotsune. Kotose. I don't know why I said Kotsune. There's no N in there. What am I doing? But, yeah, Kotose is actually a pretty interesting card. I think this will be pretty good, especially since we're going to be having decks that are wanting to return cards from the graveyard or count things in your graveyard or whatever. this could actually be a pretty good card for the format. Sweet art too. Alright, cool. I think that does it for day 8 of previews. I think we covered all the important cards that came out today. There was quite a few. There were some other commons and uncommons, but didn't look that interesting, so I just didn't include them in this. However, when we're all done and we have all the cards out, we will do probably a stream or two where we just give a full set review and we'll just let people ask questions about some of the other cards that maybe didn't get covered. But yeah, today's pretty neat. What cards did you like from today's preview set of stuff? Like, there was a lot to like or dislike, so I'm kind of curious what's really getting people excited or hyped up each day from things that we're seeing. And also, if you would be so kind, please consider supporting the channel for as little as 99 cents. Check out the membership button where it says join down below. And if you don't do that, please remember to like this video, because that helps so very much. I genuinely mean that, and I appreciate it every time. And remember to subscribe if you haven't. Hit that notification bell. Remember to choose all notifications. And that's all I have for you for now. We will see you next time.